Just call me Elmo, cause now we're gonna talk about letters. Yeah, that's the best thing I could come up with. Hello everyone, my name is GiBi, and today we're gonna talk about all the Chris Chan news from December 2021. There's a lot to get through, so there will be no more face cam for the rest of the video, because it just takes too long to edit, and I want to get this stuff out to you as fast as I possibly can. If you've been following this series for the last few months, you know that a lot of people are writing letters to Chris Chan while he's in jail, and that he is responding to many of these letters, not understanding that they're coming from trolls and people who don't necessarily have his best interest at heart. If you've been following the story, you probably remember Kenneth Engelhart. He's the owner and operator of the Onion Farms, which is a website that's very similar to the Kiwi Farms. Him and Chris are friends, and so they've been in contact for quite a while. Most other people who talk to Chris are what I'm going to call trolls or weens who are just trying to get reactions out of him, either for their own fame or their own lols, and so, as I've said multiple times, I will not be revealing their identity. But for Kenneth, it's a slightly different story because he's been famous in the Chris Chan tale for quite a few years. This month we have 5 letters to get through and a tale about a car accident, so let's just get started. This first letter is from an Onion Farms user, and again I'm going to redact their name. It was sent on November 30th. At the very top of the page here we see a drawing of female Sonichu or Chris Chan Sonichu saying, "I foresaw your letter long ago." As we continue, keep in mind that this is my first time reading these. "Thank you for your letter. I actually have foreseen receiving your letter in a vision and a dream long ago. My having read it is further confirmation of the coming events. Know that you are actually among the good of this earth, and upon my second coming, you shall be shifted with the collective to the OC and FC occupying Universe's Earths in Universe 1C211987. For those of you who aren't keeping up with the story or have blocked it out of your minds, which is very understandable, Chris currently believes himself to be Jesus. He thinks that he's going to have his second coming soon when he gets out of jail. And he has mixed the story from a Marvel event that took place in the mid-2010s where a bunch of universes got mashed together, and he's been mixing that lately with the idea of the collective shift, which is a weird TikTok New Age cult thing. And so he believes that the real universe is going to merge with the universe where fictional characters live in. Chris usually uses the terms OC and FC interchangeably to mean original characters or fictional characters. He calls our Earth Universe 1218 after the Marvel convention of naming things, and the universe where Sonichu takes place in Universe C197. So combined, they become Universe 1C211987. Also, we're all kind of lacking some context here because we didn't get to see the letter that this person sent to Chris. Chris continues, "I appreciate your self-religion concept and choice, for you've chosen to live spiritually for yourself. I encourage and applaud that. Shortly, I shall be personally upgrading for Christianity to be more spiritual and neutral religion. The truth is, any, many, all, one, or no religion is the correct religion, whichever is best in feeling for any respective individual. And, to start, as a base, with a Bible is a good option. Then, they are encouraged to go outside the Bible for themselves and live in good of spirituality as possible for themselves. So yes, you are on your own right spiritual track for yourself. I have been adapting well, and received a lot of kind support, and blessings from my fellow gods and goddesses. I am never alone, for I have Magichan Sonichu, Crizel Rosechew, Sylvana Rosechew, and the one and only Mewtwo, along with everyone else, including Sonichu, Rosie Rosechew, and all our ally and friend high-level and ranking Pokemon, as well as an infinite number of ally spirits, souls, entities, and angels, and our soldiers of heaven's armies. I count my blessings a lot, and I work hard and diligently in and out of my body in astral manifestation. But that's a long story and bunch of facts. Ultimate, I've shared online in handwriting. My aura, vibrations, and handwriting isn't possible to replicate. I like all kinds of music, except vocal harsh heavy metal. I recommend the book Warhol/Chris Chan by Don LaSham. He actually got me more than half right in it, and it makes for a great self-reflecting and self-help book for anyone. Spinach and mushroom pizza is good, as well as mac and cheese and mint chocolate chip ice cream. Of course. Of course Chris would like the worst kind of ice cream. I'm at soup, and
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
Are a couple of fun memes. Let me know your eye and hair color when you send the photos, please, as the guards photocopy, then shred the original. And I guess they must print them in black and white afterwards. I encourage extensive letters, but know with the jail's rules, 3 sheets of paper, 6 pages front and back, is the incoming limit. Enjoy a custom bottle label, enclosed, to laminate then affix onto any bottle for your further enlightenment. Go forth with peace and clarity by my power, glory and blessings as Lord, God, and Avatar. Be safe and well, Mrs. Jesus Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu, the Goddess Blueheart, Avatar and Lord Messiah Savior and God of all. For the last couple of letters that Chris has sent out, he has peeled off the label of a soda bottle and written a blessing on it, and he intends people to then tape it to other bottles that they drink out of so it can provide them with holy powers. So this one, which is written on the back of a Coke label, says, "The joy of gods, goddesses, the heavens, and the recombined new earth." And then he signs it again, and he draws a little cross with a blue heart in the middle. The next letter is dated December 2nd. It was sent to Chris by someone from Twitter. Unlike many other letters, that person actually posted their original letter to Chris, so we have context for what he's answering. This is a pure question and answer sheet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the question, and then I'm going to read Chris's answer. So the Twitter user writes, "Thank you for your response and for answering my questions. I hope all is well with you and you are doing okay in spite of the circumstances. I'm sorry to hear your case received a second continuance. I'm glad you say Bella for what she really is. Hopefully, karma bites her in the ass, but we had some more questions." So obviously this now implies that this person has had previous contact with Chris that we are unaware of. The intro to Chris's letter also mentions Bella and says, "Rest assured, a lot more than karma shall bite Bella's ass around Judgment Day. Also, numerology-wise, 13 is not as unfortunate as most consider it to be. Neither is 666. 1 plus 3 equals 4 from the 13, and repeating 6s are actually a message from the angels. Look up a numerology chart online for more information." Bella is, of course, the person who was on the phone call with Chris when he admitted to sleeping with Barb and who recorded it. There's also other evidence that she and her friends were planning to have Chris do harmful things to himself for laughs. And she extorted money from him. Question 1. Have you been playing basketball and has it been fun? We know you used to be a basketball team manager in high school. Is it nostalgic? Is Bionic the Hedgehog giving you any good pointers? Chris's response. I had played a bit of basketball in the rec room, but the rec room had been restricted from me for a while now, so I wish is also a response. Nostalgic, yes. Bionic has given me some tips, and playing a game with him without flying is fun. We actually learned from another letter a while ago that for some reason Chris has been put into solitary. Those were his own words, so we don't know if it's actually solitary confinement, or if it's just limiting the amount of time he has to interact with other people. But yeah, this does line up with him saying that he has been restricted from the rec room. Question 2. Have you considered using the library to run Dungeons & Dragons, Vampire the Masquerade, or Shadowrun? These are fun pen and paper RPGs. A buddy of mine was in prison for a few years, and he discovered the hobby of RPGs behind bars. I know you are a creative type and good at writing stories and think you'd make a good DM, Dungeon Master, or GM, Game Master. There is not much to do, so I figured. It's good entertainment, as I imagine prison/jail is boring. I imagine it's lonely there, and this could be a good way to make some friends and meet people. Not to mention, there are books you could read that are likely good entertainment. Not as good as video games, but you gotta play the hand you're dealt sometimes. Chris's answer. The library is not large enough for D&D. Yes, I like to read, and I've considered eventually becoming a DM for a group. Chris actually was playing a lot of D&D before his arrest. He found a local group and became kinda good friends with the DM of that group. Their relationship was slightly problematic because the guy would borrow a lot of money from Chris, and he was scared away by the Watchmen before they fell apart. Question 3. I asked about approved items in regards to approved items. If your grammar is worse than Chris's, then I don't know, man. I asked about approved items in regards to approved items to see what sort of things you can get. It sounded like, and correct me if I'm wrong, the jail only takes monetary donations. I was curious to know if you knew that there was a handheld console that can be purchased by inmates in all states. The games aren't great on it, but it's something. If that was on your list of approved items, and you could get us a price, someone out there might have cash and able to send you a monetary sum that would allow you to buy it. I did some research, and apparently it's possible to get an Xbox in certain states. Sadly, not in Virginia, frowny face. But I believe that handheld consoles are still available in all states. Chris says, money, pretty much, yeah, no video game handhelds or consoles on offer. He mentioned playing a Switch in a past letter, and I was very confused by that, so I guess I'm just more confused by it now. This next question is in regards to the Sutras. In case you didn't follow the story as the news was breaking, the Sutras is a girl who actually had romantic feelings for Chris Chan. She volunteered to go to a brony convention with him so that she could protect him from Jacob Sockness, and Bella, the evil girl who was trying to hurt Chris, was also part of that group. So the Sutras and Bella came into contact because they were in the same group that was going to be quote-unquote protecting Chris. The Sutras was an entirely innocent party, and it's actually disgusting because Bella made a bunch of comments about how she wanted to do things to and with the Sutras because of how innocent she was. So Bella actually had romantic, quote-unquote, feelings for the Sutras, and that's why she trusted her with the recorded audio of Chris admitting to what he did to Barb, and it was the Sutras who then leaked that to the wider internet and became the hero of the story. Chris made comments a couple times that he didn't want to have a romantic relationship with the Sutras, even though the Sutras wanted to have a romantic relationship with Chris. But in this guy's original letter, he calls the Sutras by her first name. It's become commonplace to call her by the codename the Sutras because she got a lot of unwanted attention after all this started, with a lot of people trying to investigate her to find out what her involvement with Bella was. Then some moron YouTuber accidentally released her phone number on a video he was making, and people started spamming her and harassed her off the internet. That moron YouTuber is me, by the way. So yes, the Quickie has a policy of hiding anything about her identity for her own sake, and obviously I follow that policy too. So question 4 is, what's going on with the Sutras? Are you guys done? Some recent updates still sound like she's in love with you. Have you been in contact with her? Do you plan to meet with her when you get out? Or have you severed ties with her like Bella? Her actions, although extreme, seem to be taken to get you out of Bella's clutches. She apparently still wants to bear you a child. Maybe a conjugal visit could be arranged? And again, I told you that story before reading this question, just so that you understand how creepy it is that this random guy is suggesting that we try to get this person a conjugal visit with Chris after everything that she went through. Chris's response is, okay, this part you may share online in efforts to reach her on my behalf. Which seems to imply that he doesn't want the rest of the letter shared online, which is a little too late for that. I still care about the Sutras. I had foreknown of my arrest, and the circumstances that would pin her emotions, especially in regard to the nasty plot Bella would have instigated, as a major casualty has been a great concern of mine. I've even warned her verbally, spoiler-free, of the ship between her and I likely not lasting long, and there being a risk. I feel for her as well, and in my goddess duties, during the jail time of my body, I have traveled to her state to visit, heal, and help her from my astral manifested position. I, or through my body, do wish to contact her, but I really should have written and memorized the phone numbers on my phone. Chris then references another person whose name was censored in the original letter, so we don't know who he's talking about. Anything else that may happen between her and I, you all just leave that between her and I. So yeah, it's kind of inexplicable why Chris never saw himself having a relationship with the Sutras when she seemed so eager. Obviously, a lot of people assumed that it was because he was happy with Barb, but now that's definitely over. Chris must know that if he gets out of jail, that's not going to continue. So the fact that he's still saying that a relationship with the Sutras isn't going to last is mind-numbingly dumb, from his perspective, obviously. Question 5. What are you looking forward to doing the most when you get out? Any big celebratory plans when you are free? Any video games you want to play? Transformers toys or Legos you want to play with, or movie/TV shows you want to watch? My second coming and transporting the majority of other things to Earth 1C211987 before unleashing Judgment Day on the left-behind toxic minority. Other details foreseen and foreknown are to be confirmed. So Chris isn't thinking about video games and movies and TVs and toys anymore. He's thinking about raising the Earth. He just wants his vengeance. Question 6. You mentioned you have been to other dimensions. What is heaven like? Have you been there? How does it compare to Quickville? Are there other heaven dimensions you've been to? Any heck dimensions? Heaven Realms is a hub of commute, mostly, and the place no larger than an average metropolis. 3 days on Earth equals 4 months in Heaven Realms. Do the math. Since my first ascension with my body back in Israel over 2,021 years ago up till present, well, over 8 million years have passed there for your on-Earth 21 years, what? Counting leap days. I don't know what words he means to put here, but he's clearly saying that even though it's only been about 2,000 years for us since Jesus' death, it was 8 million years in heaven. His point then is, a lot has changed with the rules, guidelines, and all between us gods and my mother, Emmanuel, revising and deciding in all that. And then, please understand, the nation of Quickville and the cities of Quickville, New Comma, and other cities, not including D.C., stand more than half of the state of Virginia, and Quickville is a part of Universe 1C211987, on the Earth, also existing alongside New York and the Avengers. Gotham City in Jersey and Metropolis in Delaware with the Justice League. Station Square and Quahog in Rhode Island. Springfield in North Central USA. Elmore in California. Game Industry and Angel Island, being islands in the Atlantic between Canada and the UK. The Smurf Village in Spain, Inuyasha and Kagone, and Sig K. Every time I apologize that I don't know these anime references as well as I know other things. Among all the others, living in and around Japan, and planet Earth alongside the other planets and galaxies, including Chromania, or what you name the planet General Pepper lives on. And then there's a little bracket, Chris means Corneria. Cybertron, Omicron Persei 8, Andromeda Galaxy, Planet Dolan, and so on in the entire universe. So this is not answering the question at all, but I guess what Chris is saying is that the Earth in his combined universe works kind of like how Earth works in DC Comics, where Gotham is an obvious stand-in for New York City or Jersey City, and Metropolis is an obvious stand-in for also New York City, kind of. But not only do these fictional cities exist, but the real cities also exist. Or I guess you could say it's also kind of like how Wakanda just kind of like exists in the middle of Africa in Marvel. Like everything else is just kind of like pushed off to the side. The difference is that with Chris, every single fictional world or country or town exists on the same planet. So we have Quahog from Family Guy and Station Square from Sonic, and Springfield from The Simpsons all existing on one planet. He does continue and say, but to answer your question, the city of Quickville is a tad smaller than that in Heaven Realm. I have visited nearly every single alternate and prime universe, dimension, timeline, and all throughout the entire multiverse, and then some. Post-apocalyptic alt timelines are enough. Question 7. I wrote a letter to you many years ago about changing the Amy Rose part of the Sonichu girls into Sally Acorn. Most hardcore Sonic the Hedgehog fans hate and despise Amy Rose, as they find her obnoxious. Obnoxious. Unlike Sally Acorn, cause she's okay. And intelligent. Your Rose Chews are way better than Amy Rose ever was, to the point where they are too much better. They clearly closely resemble Sally. Is there any chance with the dimensional merge going on that could happen, and the Rosa-Chews could become Acorn Chews or Sally Chews? Maybe there is a Sally-a-Chew somewhere in Quickville, or in an adjoining dimension. For context, Sally was like the female Sonic character before Amy Rose existed, and so a lot of, as he says, old school Sonic fans prefer her. Chris's response: Sally Acorn Chews are never happening. Sonic the Hedgehog was the power-up on who coiled with the Pikachu. What? Oh, he means who collided. Okay, so Sonic collided with a Pikachu, that manifested the Sonichu and Rosechu species, manifestoing chaotic rainbow in February 2003. Only Hedgehog and Pikachu genetics were within the chaos-energized rainbow. No squirrels, nor chipmunks, or whatever else in that. But Chris, you're human, and your father is human, and Ted Bundy is human, and they get to be Sonichus, so clearly there can be squirrel Sonichus. You are lying to me. In a distant alt timeline, Princess Sally Acorn powered up and destroyed Chaos and collided with the Pikachu, but that is not in this timeline here. If it's any consolation, there is a regular female Rosechu who styled her quills inspired by Sally, and actually became a friend and protege to her. Sal Rosechu is her name. Not short for Sally either. So for some reason I guess Chris has a thing against Sally the squirrel lady. Question 8. Have you been to the Boondocks universe and met Tom DuBois? I'm sorry guys, I haven't seen the Boondocks, I don't know what the reference is. He is a lawyer and knows much about people in your situation. He might be helpful and sympathetic to your cause. Going to the Transformers Afterlife, what? Going to the Transformers Afterlife, the Well of All Sparks, and recruiting some dead warrior Transformers like Ironhide or Dinobot might also be helpful. So some tough guys have your back. Oh, I guess he's just telling Chris, like, hey, you should go to alternate universes as they might help you. The Freemans, DuBois, Ruckus, and all of them reside in a neighborhood on the Earth of Universe 1C211987 as well, alongside everyone else. And any and all disembodied souls, spirits, entities, sparks, ghosts, and all have already been recruited by our ally ships. Ironhide has been respawned and is alive now. Dinobot had reincarnated elsewhere. So Chris apparently has literally every powerful good character on his side, and some evil ones, because he keeps, he's so powerful he can recruit all the bad guys to his side. Question 9. Any thoughts on YouTubers Dylan Thomas, GiBi, and Smokey McCrack? They make a lot of videos on you, more so since your arrest, ? Alright guys, let's see Chris's intense thoughts on some quicktubers. I don't know why this guy didn't mention Rogue. I think he's a lot bigger than Smokey McCrack. I've literally never heard of that person. Dylan Thomas is a minor traitor who failed his divine test. That's in reference to when Dylan asked Chris if the Barb stuff was true, like the day it happened or the day after it happened, and Chris told him yes, but not to share it, and then Dylan immediately posted his conversation with Chris. At the time, that was, like, actually extremely helpful because there was still a lot of debate about whether it was real or not, and Dylan was the one with the balls to actually reach out to Chris, but I'm sure that Chris feels betrayed by that. GiBi is alright. Have not consciously learned of Smokey McCrack yet. Interesting. So, even though Chris says that he knows everything and can talk to people, like, telepathically, if he actually hasn't heard of a real person, he'll claim that he hasn't heard of them? That's kind of weird. For some reason, either Chris or the person who's transcribing Chris's letter skips past question 10, and we're going to get that at the end, and so they go to question 11. Question 11. It seemed like there were items you wanted to go home and get before you went to jail. If you don't mind my asking, what were those items? Maybe we could try and buy you some replacement items and have them ready for you when you get out. This is something that Chris said when he first went before a judge. He said he needed to get things from home, and then he'd be content being in jail. I said I thought it was stuff that he would need to do rituals, and a bunch of other people made jokes about it being toys, so let's see what Chris actually said. I mainly wanted the items and the van. I took with me that last week in July returned to the Sonichu Temple. They all have been personally collected and returned by Barbara and Weston Chandler Sonichu. Okay, so he didn't want anything to take with him into jail, he wanted things that he took to the hotel to be returned to his home. Interesting. This also, once again, references that Chris and Barb might be in contact, because he says that she personally got them. Question 12. When you are out, do you plan on doing the kill stream with Ethan Ralph like you had agreed to at your arrest? He seemed to really want to have you on his show. Chris's response, that is to be confirmed after my second coming and all that. Because the first thing Jesus is going to do after he returns is go on Ethan Ralph's show. Go on the Ralph retort. Alright, so now they circle back to the 10th question, which was, you've mentioned you're the real player 1. What is that? Can you explain a bit more? Just curious. Does it have anything to do with Hyperdimension Neptunia or Ready Player One? Or does this have to do with the Super Nintendo game The Lawnmower Man? Okay, Chris is now going to give us some deep lore and explain everything. Fortunately, the same day I received your letter, I received another Q&A letter from another follower, and they've asked a similar question. I've given consent for that letter to be posted online. I have asked the guardian of the Akashic records to field that question of yours, and I've written it all in my goddess log pages as well. I'm going to say for further details, look up the letter online, but for your immediate information, I quote, I said, quote, which also transitions to my being the real Player One. Yes, I one part, that was a reference to the movie, but to serve as a modern iteration of being the only avatar as well. What? Akashic Guardian said, I inform all of you of the one avatar body, immortal and existent throughout all of time since the Big Bang. There has existed the very first body to was the universe. In on and only perspective, that must mean in one and only perspective, the, quote, video game, end quote, of life has started and spawns, first and foremost, the Player One with the set main camera perspective that absolutely none other has at all, and after them comes Player 2, then 3, and so on, including the non-playable characters, obliviously unaware that this one avatar that has most preceded each and every one of them all. This one avatar, with the immortal infinite resurrection respawn count, and all powers and abilities over all, is your god, and your foretold lord as well. End quote. Eventually, after learning everything from Emmanuel, my parent, and then another end quote, the avatar was sent to be born in Bethlehem by your Virgin Mary, in most popular chronicling, dubbed Jesus Christ of Nazareth, child of God Emmanuel. Then I lived my life as Jesus, and continued my immortal walks and books of life up until 1389 with the universe divide, my being thrusted forward in time through the chaotic rainbow of 2003, bounced of a spider off a spider, and I, the Avatar, landed, mind, memories, body, soul, and all within Barbara Ann Weston Chandler Rosechew in May 1981, to be born as Christopher Weston Chandler Sonichu on February 24th, 1982, Charlottesville, Virginia, United States of America. Okay, that was a lot of nonsense. So what he is saying is that it's kind of like the NPC meme. The NPC meme is that there's only so many souls out there, which means that some people are walking around who don't actually have souls and they're like NPCs in video games. But Chris is taking it a step further and saying that the players, among the players, there's a Player One who is basically God. In this case, they are Jesus, and that Chris is Jesus, and that Jesus died and then kind of hung around until 1389. That's when Merlin used his magic in King Arthur's court to divide the universes, and thus was born the fictional character universe where Sonichu lives in and our real world. Apparently, this also thrusted Jesus forward in time. He landed in the other universe, and then combined with the chaotic rainbow energy that happened when Supersonic hit a Pikachu who was using an electric attack, which then created Eggs and Sonichu. This power and Jesus' soul then entered into Barb in our universe, and then Chris was born. Awesome. Eventually growing and evolving to be your Jesus Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu, as you know her now, to some extent at least. Chris Chan Sonichu has meditated consciously and inquired of her one and only avatar perception, as one as to why she was recalling the greater memories of the youth and teenage years of her past life as Jesus Christ. Now, if you'd like more greater truths and insights, the Akashic records are always open to all who are highly enlightened, opened, and not blinding themselves from said ultimate truth. And if you'd like to know more what the Akashic records are and how you may be able to access them, Google the term. Go forth with further peace, clarity, and blessings. Be safe and well, Mrs. Jesus Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu, the Goddess Blueheart Avatar, and Lord Messiah Savior and God of all. Unfortunately, the person who leaked these did not leak the original letter, so it's unclear whether the typos that are present in the letter are from the transcription or from Chris's original handwriting. For some reason, there are mistranslations from what was typed and posted onto the Quickie compared to the pictures of the actual letter that was sent, so it's possible that there are also typos in Chris's responses that Chris himself did not actually make. Alright, buckos, we're finally moving into the actual month of December, which is what we're trying to cover. Chris's letter here was written on December 6th and was another letter to Kenneth Engelhart. It was in fact his 6th letter. Chris begins, For starters, and this part you have our consent to post online, some genuine, vital prophecies and signs everyone needs to be watchful of in these events leading up to our second coming. Introduction. On behalf of our soulful and presently astral manifested and working partner, this is the 100% physical body, soul, and I, the 100% mental soul as well. Partners components of us three main components of Jesus, Christine, Weston, Chandler, Sonichu. We are in full Zen-like balance and sync with each other. The quickie transcription of this spells components and Chandler wrong. Chris then draws a triangle labeled mind, body, spirit, and a heart. Now the prophecies. Asterisk, some of these are literally already happening with and around you all, right now as well. Now, among the neurotypical individuals, all of you all who are/were not already spiritually enlightened or touched in your heads, of 1218 Earth, here, you all shall suddenly speak random foreign strange languages and tongues, including Old Jewish, Asoba Akashi, and the Akashic language. I love how Chris spelled neurotypical wrong. You all shall suddenly download massive amounts of information, truths and facts from the Akashic records, to the point your brains overload and burn from fatigue. Some of you all shall suddenly act ritualistic and appear schizophrenic, but you shall be no schizophrenic, nor shall any and all around you doing similar, so do not hate, and do not interrupt them. Chris, are you implying that you should hate normal schizophrenic people? Because I don't think that's what God would say. You all will be guided, divinely, and, quote, living manipulated, end quote, by us gods and goddesses. Random animals, including some anthropological? I think he means anthropomorphic, because that's not. Sentient and human language-speaking animal/creature individuals shall increasingly appear in random places around this earth. Likewise, a number of you all, bracket, out of the majority of good and neutrals, end bracket, shall suddenly, parenthesis, without dying, end parenthesis, physically disappear from this earth and reappear on 1C211987's earth. Also, as symbolized by the breaking of my left glasses lens, we are at the point of no return from that moment onward, and the truth-blinding veils shall suddenly disappear from everyone's, parenthesis, among the majorities, physical eyes. All of ye shall see and know greater truths leading up to our second coming. The believer and religious count shall suddenly skyrocket, even from the toxic minority seeking to repent in light of these truths and enlightenments. Asterisk, as well as all other obvious and resonant signs and events. Also, did y'all observe December 2nd, 2021, /12022021? Oh, it's the same forward and backward. Okay, I get it. That day was very cosmically eventful. You can't keep yourselves blind from the truth. Heed the words and sudden guidance from us gods and goddesses. I get it. I didn't see this at first. He actually wrote 120021 in his cross drawing. That's great. 2. To answer your questions. 1. Mainly the dailies consist of 24/7 involuntary meditation, as well as conscious meditations within the daily goddess log writing, and lots of telling insights from the playing cards during games of solitaire, and continued talks, works, and all with Magichan, Vanessa Gardevoir. Who is Vanessa Gardevoir? Turns out it's some not safe for work Twitter account artist. And everyone else, as well as Christine being astral manifested and working hard on her duties. So I've noticed, I'm sure you guys have noticed too, that Chris has been saying we a lot, like our second coming, when we do, X, Y, or Z. I thought he was just saying that in, the way that he would say it because he has multiple souls within him. I don't know why he's now referring to himself in the third person by saying Christine. I have not gotten any other indication that he's, swapped bodies or anything. Maybe he's writing this letter as Jesus? For now, that's really all I would guess. 2. We get and know why the interaction limits. We don't know what the questions are, so I'm not sure what we get and know why the interaction limits means. 3. Food's okay, commissionary food stuff, and the tea and fruit drink mixes are better. 4. I keep, and then he crossed it out, Christine and we, of course, keep our body clean, safe, and healthy, as well as the sink and the prayer rugs and the bed. 5. Nothing is secret in regard to the divine truths. But yeah, most of the staff in this jail building are neurotypical and blinding themselves, but not for long. 7, and then crossed it out and wrote 6. Yes, I am receiving the funds and appreciating it. Asterisk. But a lot of money needs to go to Barbara and the Sonichu Temple, especially since the van is totaled, and last we checked, she still needs a new car. So this is in reference to an event that happened on November 24th. Chris apparently mentioned in a letter to Kenneth that he did not fully reveal at the time that Barb had been in a car accident that, like Chris just said, had totaled the car. It was unclear for a while whether this was true, but eventually people did find that it really happened. She was charged with fail to yield right of way and had to pay a fine of $30 on top of court fees, which were $76. Chris continues in his letter. From this point on, I address the remainder of your letter, of which we recommend not uploading online. Anyway, next page. Your foot shall heal quick enough. Pray to us, Christine, and the other gods and goddesses. Christine still has the healing hands, touch, and aura. Let me go to a fresh sheet in regards to Josh Moon. Neo-spiritual Christianity crucifix, Zen version. Alright, so Chris is going to now answer a question about Joshua C., quote, Knoll Moon. I know you guys love how I pronounce the name Knoll. I believe his middle name is Colin, or something along those lines. To be confirmed. I'm fairly certain his name is Connor. One of Bella's friends went by the name Espion on Kiwi Farms, and he had a fake identity under the name Connor, and I think he was using that because it's Knoll's middle name. So I'm fairly certain the C stands for Connor, unless I've been misinformed about that fact. So no, Chris is once again incorrect. Chris continues, Mind and I will tell you, and to reiterate, as we are 2/3 of Jesus Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu, and have access to our full memories, insights, thoughts, and wisdoms, we do speak on her behalf fully on this when we first started talking with Moon. Even before the first text communication from him, we had foreknown and sensed everything about him. Chris and Knoll have been in contact for literal years at this point. If he sensed everything about him that he would one day betray him like Judas, then he wouldn't have kept talking to him, so no. We had sensed insecure and unconfident vibrations, as well as some demon lineages? He must mean lineages. Demon lineages from him. That last part was confirmed by looking him in the eye in his photograph. We did not see him as any father figure, but more as an ally we've goetically called and summoned to aid us during those events. Goetically is a reference to like black magic summoning and stuff. We've given him respect in the similar way we did with Judas back in Jerusalem, and with caution, as well as very good guidance from our love Magichan. On that, with how Moon failed his test by leaking the bank transfer of that money from Barbara's account, parenthesis, paid back $150 on August 1st, and finally the remaining $600 over a month ago, in an ultimate act of betrayal that begs the question, who was the better kisser, Judas or Moon? So after Chris was kicked out of his house but not arrested because of the leaked Barb call, he was forbidden from contacting her in any way, but he took money from a shared bank account that they had, which counts as contacting her, and after that happened, Josh, who was like his last ally on the outside, gave up on him, and also leaked to the internet that he did it because he has access to Chris's emails. So apparently Chris is real mad about that. Also, in case you're not biblically inclined, when Judas was betraying Jesus, he went to the guards and told them that the man he kissed was the person who they were looking for. So he went in the garden and found Jesus and kissed him, and then the guards arrested Jesus. And the confirmed fact that Moon took back that 1,000 out of the 5,000 from the GoFundMe he had sent that weekend, late July, and refunded the lot of the money, despite the fact I have recorded those personalized videos and drew those 60+ drawings and pieces, having earned well over 3/4 of that money that could have been sent to Barbara in confirming light of these foreknown to me events. So Chris wanted to go to a brony convention, but he didn't have the money, and Josh was concerned that something bad would happen to Chris if, he drove there. So he set up a GoFundMe so that people could donate to Chris so that he could get to the BronyCon, and in payment, Chris would draw them a picture or record them a video message. But after he was arrested, he obviously was not able to send out these video messages or these pictures, so Josh had to refund the money to the people on GoFundMe. And Chris is upset because he did the work, he just didn't send them out, so he thinks he should get the money. Which is not at all how that works. Chris is entirely in the wrong here. Then at the bottom of the page it says, Dratsab Giniyortebe, which is betraying B-word backwards. Chris thinks that writing things backwards is like a form of magic. But yeah, also, Moon is paranoid. He is truly scared of the demons and devils that he works with and holds a massive amount of regrets and sins within him. Moreover, Chris always says rather instead of whether for some reason. Whether he verbally or in writing admits to it or not, but he has known and sensed my aura and being Jesus Christ reincarnated. The reason he plays, quote, atheist is because he has sensed and known this sub and unconsciously, and he does not understand and fears addressing us or telling anyone else about it and his knowledge and experiences past in Universe 1C211987. So he's pretending to be an atheist because he knows deep down that he's actually Judas. Okay. And to answer your question from what is recorded in the Akashic Records, Moon had moved from Pensacola, Florida to Serbia because of better business opportunities to get away from those that remind him of his greater regrets in Florida and the States and other legal charges against him as well. His former life in Pensacola was not among the better lifestyles. He's essentially hiding and not really wishing to return to the States, even though he feigns intentions to in his statements. Moon has not directly mentioned or tell us of his personal and daily life, but it is revealed that he is playing, quote, secret identity there. He is presently trying to, and is, maintaining a relationship with someone in Serbia, and essentially living life like he goes daily to a Starbucks at least once or twice a day. What we have spoken of, Josh, and he crosses out Josh and writes, Joshua C. Null Moon, in this letter on the front and back of the sheet of paper does not go online or public, stays only between you, us, Christine, Magichan, the Psychics, and the Akashic Records. And, should you say anything online, you may state honestly your information source was the Akashic Records. Oops. To end this letter for now, I request your phone number, please, so we may call and talk with you, that way as well. Go forth with further peace, clarity, blessings, and enlightenment, be safe and well, and then he signs his name. P.S. We have read and appreciated the information on Muhammad, but please, let's tone it down on that being huge chunks of the letters. We appreciate, understand, and accept the Muslims as part of the worldwide religious collective who, a good number of, are among the majority to be shifted to 1C211987 Earth, and shall be further enlightened by us gods and goddesses and our deeds of divinity. If there's anything Chris needs right now, it's introducing more religious lore into his nonsense. Alright, now we have one last letter. This one was actually written to the same Kiwi Farms user as the one from earlier. It's postmarked the 10th, but it was probably written on the 9th. Once again, we can expect that this person wrote a letter back to Chris that Chris is now responding to, so we're going to be missing some context. Hey, you may call or address me as Christine, Jesus Christ Chan, oh my god, or even simply Chris or Christ, your choice. Actually, I would appreciate a mix of being treated as a friend and with some humility. Your recent letter is truly a humbling delight to read and find the confirmations from. I can safely tell you I had foreseen your first letter in the specific timing and circumstances in reading the sentence that foreshadows and confirms my body's and eyes' changes being cleared and being released. So he thinks that he's going to be released soon. You are lots more than a typical human, so you need not feel or speak low about yourself. To answer your question, the prayers addressed to me have all been received in between my unconsciousness, my mother, Emmanuel, and even in my body's core, which is literally one and the same as the core in the epicenter of our universe, 1C211987, and what's left of 1218 as well. So Chris thinks that on some level we've already combined universes, but 1218, which is our home universe, which is where we quote-unquote really are, still exists for some reason. There is a divine sorting on which out the infinite number of prayers get answered due to the timing, circumstances, and what is most appropriate for the spiritual growth and development of each individual, respectively. If I polled an Evan Almighty and said yes to all, including the number of those wishing to win the lottery, well, that's an apocalyptic, chaotic type of outcome we god and goddesses wish to avoid. Although I know Discord revels in watching the alternate timelines that feature such havoc. Discord is a Discord god from My Little Pony. Anyway, the many chosen prayers are divinely addressed and answered between Emmanuel, one of my soul copies, or mainly by myself personally, from within my body, or, more directly, out of my body in astral manifestation. So he's saying that he answers lots of prayers, sometimes they're answered by God, but that he doesn't always answer them yes. For how astral manifestation works, I first astral project myself, then convert my energy into flesh that mainly is tangible on 1C211987 Earth, and beyond the truth-binding veil, on the physical eyes of the humans of 1218 Earth. For most of them, when they separate their soul from their respective bodies in astral projection, their bodies fall unconscious and deepestly asleep. Few, as well as I, have backup souls, manifested from their respective bodies' cores' varying levels of energy. In a previous letter, Chris talked about how, because his soul is infinite, he can split it off into multiple different souls, but then because it's infinite, all of those multiple different souls are still infinite. So he's saying very few people have that ability. My core, he's about to say it. My core has infinite energy, as does the universe's core, obviously. And as you likely know from your experiences, when projected/manifested and having to leave their bodies behind, the memories and experiences of your soulful journeys are separate from that save in the body's memories, and upon return, the soul memories take more effort to download and recall in your body's memories. So I'm guessing that the person who wrote a letter to Chris said that they too astral projected sometimes. And Chris is saying that if you ever astral project, then the things that your soul experiences will fade and be harder to remember than real body memories. There is a workaround to make that easier by backing up the memories of both your body and your soul into your individual infinity capacity cloud save backup drive in the cosmos, to which you may download your soul journey memories from there into your consciousness. Guys, this is what I live for. Chris's insane religion lore, this is why I follow Chris. I love this. But as with technology, the body's brain has a limit, and as not to overload it, non-relevant or oldest memories will be deleted in favor. When I astral projected/manifested, I am in full control, and I have capability to connect or disconnect telepathically from my body for observations and thoughts. The catch is with my body's brain's handicap to constantly have my brain here to record my time there and help in thought process while it is entranced. It can fall into headache here, as well as disable me a bit there, so most of the time during my duties and work, I disconnect the telepathy with my body, but I always consciously back up and save my soul memories for later access. One of the other things I love about Chris is how he could very easily use his lore to explain his own shortcomings, but he doesn't. He could very well say, oh, the reason that I have autism and I'm slow in the mind is because I'm always doing things spiritually so my body can't keep up. But he's not saying that. He's saying, I can't fulfill all of my duties to their full extent because of my slow thought processes in my body. It's very interesting, and it's also very, progressive from the way he used to speak about people with intellectual disabilities. But I do have full decisions for myself, and in working with everyone, including Magichan, of course, Happy Face Heart, with everyone of formerly C197, 1C211987 Earth, I can interact, see, and talk with and feel them, as well as those from the other dimensions, timelines, universes, etc. We of 1C211987 Earth are all capable of seeing and interacting with those of 1218 Earth, here. But that truth-blinding veil, plus the poor choice some humans here make to purposefully, consciously, blind and close themselves from us is most disgraceful. The same is fact and true with those who traverse here from the heaven and realms. in full energy to flesh conversion. Suffice to say, until after my second coming and shifting the collective of the majority to 1C211987 Earth, communications and interactions get complicated. I am very well aware of the hatred levels among the humans of 1218 Earth, worse in the minority of toxics that take up about 18% of the population, which is absent 600 million plus. So he's saying that about 600 million plus people are the minority of toxics. So those people are not going to pass on to heaven or the other dimension, okay? 600 million. That's to put things in perspective. Got it. Thank you, Chris. I do agree, the COVID sheltering has turned a number of good neutral ones to neutral bad, but they are still recoverable and redeemable. The sheltering, along with the divine tests I and other gods and goddesses have been administering, was to sort out those who are toxic, because before COVID, the toxic count was a lot less, by 2 to 5%. The test and fortitude and endurance of everyone in general. So he's saying that there's more toxic people now? We had a different sorting method in mind, and then uber-demonic Sockness cursed the country of China, and bam! Had he not cursed the country, our method of testing, as well as population reduction and control, for the collective shift would have involved an increase in physical natural disasters, as well as something similar to a plague of Moses' days. COVID proved more effective and efficient with less land and property casualties. Okay, so Sockness is obviously a reference to Jacob Sockness, who was a true believer in Chris's religious nonsense, but also believed in his own, offshoot religion where he was the god. He was also in love with Chris, but Chris did not reciprocate those feelings. And Sockness hated China for, political reasons. Sockness hated China for the same reason that Donald Trump hated China. But he didn't start cursing the country with his dark magic until after COVID started. So I'm not sure what Chris is referencing here. If I'm reading this right, Chris is saying that COVID is a test to see who the toxic haters are, and it is quadrupled the amount of people who can be considered toxic haters. That's something. Sometimes, even the dark forces can have better methods, but not in the long run, or all of the time, of course. How well one can balance light and dark within themselves, as well as analyze, appreciate, and go with the flow of events and shifts in energy is a very strong spiritual attribute to have. Aside from that, and moving on with your letter, I actually feel better in having color in everyone. If everyone was in black and white, how can you discern from one another visually? Look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Take away all their weapons, and you can't tell Michelangelo from Leonardo. What? He didn't fully explain this here. In the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics, they were in black and white, and so their masks were all the same color. It was only later, in the cartoon, that they were all given individually colored masks. So what Chris is saying is that the only thing you could identify them as were their weapons. So if you took their weapons away, then they'd be all indistinguishable. And so for that reason, Chris doesn't want people to just be black and white because then they'd all be the same. Okay. I do appreciate the aura and personality differences, but if you're looking for Sonichu Prime in a sea of uncolored drawings of all the various regular and special Sonichus, all in a same pose and expression, you're looking for a needle in a haystack. Yes, as long as the atheist is more... And then he totally changes topic, I'm guessing to answer a question that this person sent him. Yes, as long as the atheist is moreover good and spiritual in quality, even they will find good rewards and karma, and not end up in realm before reincarnating into their next life. Wait, you only go to these realms temporarily? Chris said that heaven was like a commuter city. He's also said before that when you die, you go to the Sonichu world. So are these only temporary places? Interesting, okay. So you're either pampered or tortured for a little while before you're reborn? I guess that makes sense. It's not contradictory. So that's good. I agree with you in being open and aware of at least the bits and pieces of all religions in order to find the good within for yourself and develop a spiritually satisfying lifestyle and choices for yourself. Baptisms/anointments are still good options to really link with the heaven realms and deeper within yourself. And that was on a new question. My distance from the internet for a while, for the greatest benefit of my self-revelations and enlightenment, was divinely meant to make it even more clear and obvious to every one of my followers that the light of my aura and existence, as well as my insights, knowledge, wisdom, and even multiversal connections, would sorely be missed. This is temporary, for upon my return and second coming, all shall have greater, genuine compassion, empathy, and understanding of I and my greater roles as Lord, Avatar, God, and Friend. There shall be much rejoicing, and it will be good. And I have come to better knowing of myself and everything with greater recovery and levels of kindness and understanding of all others of this earth. I still appreciate the finer things and light topics, for my body is half human and half Sonichu, and I live physically immortal amongst you all and everyone of Universe 1C211987. And then he just lists a bunch of answers. Mary Poppins is still my favorite movie of all time. Yes, I sometimes like to sing random songs, memes, or notes in the shower. Who doesn't? Gene Kelly and Tara Strong are my favorite actor and actress. Guitar. The Beatles. To be the best I can be in my works and with everyone. I'm sure that those questions are what his favorite instrument, band, and what his dream is. Thank you again so kindly for your kindness and compassion. Go forth with greater peace, clarity, and blessings. Be safe and well. Jesus Christ Chan Sonichu. Enclosed is an NSC token for you to hold and feel inspired by and with. That's Neo-Spiritual Christianity is NSC. Guys, can I get an NFT of an NSC token? And finally, the last letter we have this month is actually a Christmas card that Chris wrote to Kenneth. A star led the way to the light of the world. Dearest Kenneth, I am delighted to share the blessing of this greeting card with you. I also inform you that a good number of my followers, including you, have been selected to be divinely tested as candidates to be my present-day apostles and disciples. Obviously, alongside Noel, Dylan, and Bella, who had also been tested, a number have failed. But Kenneth, fear not, for I bring good tidings unto thee through this card. Thou hast proven, and continued to prove time and again with great success in kindness, loyalty, honesty, and generosity, with good humor as well. With that said, Kenneth Aaron Engelhart, I am humbled to inform you have passed our tests very well, and shall continue to serve as one of my apostles in permanent effect, now in these days, and after being shifted to the recombined Earth in Universe 1C211987 with the majority. Congratulations. Remain humble as thou art, and do good as thou will. Enjoy the holidays as they are. Mrs. Jesus Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu. And then the card itself says, may he shine on every part of your Christmas celebration, but Chris crossed out he and wrote I. God bless you throughout the season and in the new year. Honestly, I obviously have mixed feelings about Noel as being the guy who runs the Kiwi farms, but having Noel and Dylan in the same sentence as Bella is hugely inappropriate, considering the kind of person that Bella is and what she did. And that is it with updates for this week. What was that, like an hour? That wasn't that bad. If there's any more drastic breaking news, you can follow me on Twitter at GIBI_Devin. I'll of course be making a video to update you on the events of January as they happen. Chris's next hearing is February 3rd, so it's actually likely that I'll do a January recap towards the end of January instead of waiting for the entire month to be over, just so that everyone's caught up before the hearing. Obviously, a continual pattern in this is that we're finding letters and stuff from weeks or months ago. Like, Chris writes them, and then we only find out about them a while later. If you want to hear more of my voice, you should subscribe, because I have a weekly series going over more oddities in the news. My show is called Week in Weird, and it covers lots of topics like Chris Chan. Thank you for watching.